What is going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Grounded, where we're here to discuss all things land, all things wholesaling, investing, building, development, mostly wholesaling land and how you can implement our strategy into your business. For those that don't know, my name is Tanner Santucci. Normally, I host this show with my business partner, Isham. We are the owners of Unwind Investments, and we're a land acquisition company based out of Florida. And so all we do is land and work with builders and developers. And so we wanted to be able to give back to a lot of people that have been reaching out, asking for advice, for help, all the above on how to essentially find land, sell land, what strategies to utilize with land, how to find buyers for land, how to talk to sellers, agents, all the above. And so we want to make sure that we can do our best to give back and provide as much value as possible to those that are looking to either do their first land deal or just their next land deal, or looking to add an extra tool to your tool belt in your business. Because I know a lot of wholesalers or a lot of investors run across a lot of land deals, especially when you're dealing with a lot of agents. Agents will send you land opportunities, mostly infill lots, but some bigger, just because they don't know what to do with it. And so they reach out to people they think who would have any interest. And so I want to be able to help you guys understand land as best as possible. So that way in your business, if you're not just doing land, you're doing, residential or multifamily or whatever your strategy may be. But when the opportunity comes, because I'm sure it will, where someone presents an opportunity with a land deal, you're at least somewhat capable of understanding what to look for, how to underwrite it, how to evaluate it, how to find buyers, what kind of questions to be asking, all of the above. And so that's what this show is about. And the only way this show, for anyone to get any value, is to ask questions. If you guys have any questions specifically regarding what we do, how we do it, you may have a situation currently that you're dealing with and you want a second opinion on, or you want some advice or maybe some feedback, or just try to figure it out together. I 100% want to do that. That's what the show is for. So make sure that you're interacting, you're asking questions, you're hanging in the chat, and you're just, don't feel like you have to participate, but it obviously makes the show a lot more engaging and a lot more interesting, I guess, or exciting. So welcome everyone to I guess a Wednesday, our weekly live. And the last thing I'll mention real quick is, for those that don't also know, we have a weekly podcast that gets released every single Monday, where we interview a new real estate entrepreneur every single week and pick their brain on what has made them so successful. Some are new entrepreneurs, some are experienced entrepreneurs, some are making $400,000 a month, some are making $4,000 a month. So we have everything in between. So make sure you check out Wholesale Elite podcast on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, all the above, anywhere you can find podcasts. Tune into that if you're interested in learning what other successful entrepreneurs have to say about real estate and how their experience has gone. But anyways, with all of that being said, it is time to actually get into our grounded episode for the week. And there's multiple topics that I wanted to go over today from some recent questions and recent people that have reached out to me. And so it seems like one of the biggest things that people have been asking. And again, just a friendly reminder, if you have any questions, please leave them in the chat so we can discuss them here live on the show, and I can interact with you. But anyways, one of those questions is all the above. What exactly, are you looking for, or what can make a specific lot or piece of land more enticing to a developer or builder than others? Because again, if this may be your first time tuning in, our business model for land is different than what I feel like most people are. Most people just send out mailers with percentage-based offers based on a formula. We don't do that. We reverse engineer every single offer that we put out. And we also tailor all of our offers very customizable to the seller situation. As you would do with a single family residential home, we actually do that with land, and that's not really common. If you listen to a lot of podcasts where wholesalers or investors or land buyers talk about, buying and selling land, they talk about where they send out 5,000 mailers a day, and they have a formula that inputs it and shoots out, based on 10% of the value of the area or what the average acre, is costing. And so we don't do that. So that's what this series is for, is so to kind of allow you guys to hop in our shoes and pick our brains on exactly how we run our business and our business model. And so we have a smaller company, and for that reason, we're able to strategically pick out which lots we want to go after, which lots we want to offer on, rather than sitting a mass, pulling a 5,000 list and cold calling and doing everything like that, which we do cold calling. We don't do any mail. So that surprises most people because we are in land. So, but with all that being said, I want you guys to understand, if you are wanting to kind of go after our business model, or at least again, understand, I want to try to help you guys determine, this lot looks like it could be a little more enticing than the lot down the street, even though they're in the same neighborhood. I want to point out some of those factors, but I also want to mention, what's a good price range? This is a really good question I had, I would say 2 days ago. Someone messaged me on Instagram and said, "Hey Tanner, basically, what in your market, what areas are you, if you go into a new market?" I'm trying to phrase how they said it. It's kind of a long question, but if you were to go into a new market, not knowing anyone, not knowing anything, how do you determine like what neighborhoods or what zip codes or what areas you're going to target first going into a new market? So this may be relative for those that are in a larger market, such as Tampa or Dallas or maybe Indianapolis or LA or New York, right? These massive, gigantic markets where you can get really fine with picking out neighborhoods or areas. For those that are in like submarkets, like we're in a submarket where it's not a major market, you have to be a little more broad with the area, which is fine. So, but I'm going with off of if you're based in a larger market. So if you're based in a larger market, the number one thing I look for, and I can pull this up on Zillow, but the number one thing I'm looking for is the average price, that the homes are selling. I want to be in a market, or I want to be in a neighborhood, but I'm looking for land. Again, residential infill lots. I'm not talking large acreage or rural land. We don't do that. So this show is for infill lots primarily. But when we're going in and looking for infill lots and areas, I want to be in a price range where homes are selling anywhere from 250,000 to 500,000. Now that may seem pretty broad, but there's only so many neighborhoods. Well, I should say this: that hits most neighborhoods, unless you are in areas like Indianapolis, for example, or maybe the Midwest, where you can find a lot of neighborhoods where homes are selling for under 200,000. But for us in Florida, 250 to 450 really is the sweet spot in terms of where builders want to be and where we've had the most success in selling lots. And when I mean 250 to 450, that means ACV, which is after construction value. For those that have been in residential real estate, flipping single family homes or even multifamily, any type of structure, essentially it gets referred to as ARV, which is after repair value. So what's that house or property look like, or what's the value of it after, you put some money into it, fix it up and put it on the market? Well, in land, we refer to it as ACV, after construction value. So after we buy this lot or piece of dirt, what's the value of it after a home is built on it? That's what we're looking for. We can determine what the ACV is of the area, of the neighborhood. We have a really good chance at locking down a very good price point of where we need to get, these spec home build, potential lots. So with that being said, like I said, 250 to 450 is the prime, target area price range of what you want your ACV to be in. 250 is on the low end, by the way, as well. 250 tends to be now, it tends to be more of affordable housing. You know what I mean? Like they tend to not be in the best areas of town. Again, depending on your market. Indianapolis, 250 may get you a beautiful house. 250 in Tampa may not get you as nice of a house. So be aware of that and take what I'm saying with a grain of salt, depending on where you're at in the country. So anyways, once you get in down to like the 250, and let me pull up Zillow. Let me share my screen here for everyone. Boom. Okay, cool. So we'll use Tampa. We'll use Tampa, for example, right? And so, because I know a lot of people are in the Tampa market, so this may be somewhat beneficial. So I'm just going to remove the boundary. So what I'm looking for is I want everything that's a house. My filters are simply going to be, I'm going to go minimum year built 2022, and let's see what's popping in the last 6 months. Wow. Okay. It's a lot of action. So as you can see, Tampa is primal. So now what I want to do is I want to go to, where's the pricing? Why am I doing this? Minimum, I want to go to, let's do 200 just because Zillow is the way it is. We'll do 500. Boom. So as you can see, we can see what has sold in the last 6 months that is somewhat of a new construction, 2022 or newer, right? So now I want to find areas where there's a decent pocket of new construction, right? So we notice there's not a lot of new construction in the price range I'm looking for to start. Again, I'm acting as if I was brand new to a market, didn't know anyone, looking to get into land. Where do I start? What's the best price range where I'm most likely going to have the most success, or at least the quickest success? Nothing's quick in real estate, but to make 10, 20 grand in 30 days, I mean, that's pretty quick to make that much money, right? So I think most people would be happy with that. And so there's a few areas that instantly come to my mind, right, when I'm looking at the screen. So for those that are just listening, go check out the YouTube. I'm sharing my screen so you can see what I'm looking at. But obviously down here where Pinellas Park, Bardmore, Kansas City, there's not a lot of 2022 or newer new construction in the price range we're looking at. Why? It's probably a higher end based on with it being in the peninsula. I'm no Tampa expert, everyone, so do not judge me when I'm talking about this. But I'm just okay, boom, there's nothing really popping here. St. Petersburg, we got some opportunity down here in this little pocket. So I wouldn't be opposed to potentially looking for lots. Now, I don't know if going past the highway gets kind of sketchy. It may, I don't know. But if you can find lots in this area, which it looks like there may be a good chance. Let's hide this. Let's do this. Let's do satellite. Zillow is not always updated, so it's going to be tough. Yeah, it's going to be grainy. But anyways, I'm looking in this area for a lot. Again, if I'm brand new, need somewhere to start, that's one little pocket that I could be looking. The next pocket, obviously, which is what most people probably saw as soon as I opened my screen, was what I assume is downtown Tampa, or at least close to it. And so I would be looking for lots. Let's see here. I'm just going to go boom, 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 boom. Sorry, I'm just drawing out this line here. Following some roads. It's very ugly, but I'm going to be looking for lots in this area. We could probably rule out this little pocket. I don't know. This may be, again, a higher end lot, but if you're looking to start, I'm on the hunt for lots in this neighborhood, in this little pocket. So let's see if we can find something. So boom, what's this? So awesome. So we have what looks to be some vacant lots right here. And again, I would recommend using the GIS when you're looking for this stuff, because Zillow tends to be extremely, I don't want to say extremely outdated, but the data and the pictures and the photography don't seem to be up to date with whatchamacallit, the GIS map. And so, but yes, I'm looking here, boom, I'm looking for lots. Now I can see what's kind of popping, right? So I'm going to sort this to newest. And I'm just going to kind of take a look at what they're building, right? So nothing special. As we can see, there's a consistent theme with what these builders are wanting to build, right? We have a 3-2, 14, little over 1,400 square foot home. Another 3-2, little over 1,400 square foot home. 3-2 over 1,400, right? So there's a theme. Same thing. This one's 1,800, but it's a 3-2. 4-2, 1,600, right? So the point being is a lot of these builders, some could be the same builder, some could be all different mom and pop builders. Why is this data important? Because that's going to tell me what I can expect a builder to want to build. So I know if I'm running my numbers, I say I come across a lot, whether it's on market or off market, and in this area, I know, okay, cool. So now we have a lot, no matter what the price is. If it's on market, let's even see if there's here, let me just do this real quick. I'll even see if there's any on market lots over here. Boom, boom, click lots, we're filtering. Okay, cool. So now that we have all this sorted out, I'm just going to kind of see. So these are obviously asking quite a bit they'd be asking higher than I think, or I would have thought. And so that means one, either the build costs for these builders in Tampa are a lot lower than where my market's build costs are. Or two, these builders aren't wanting the return because they probably do a large amount of volume, right? So a mom and pop builder, meaning, someone that builds, let's say, 3 to 5 homes a year. Well, let's say 1 to 5 homes a year, right? There's some flippers, for those that do residential, there's some flippers that they flip, 1 to 5 homes a year, right? Maybe it's them and their wife, or just them as an investor that does it as a side hustle. There are builders like that, and they're great to work with. The only thing I have, I don't want to even say against them. The only thing I have that makes me reserved when working with those mom and pop builders is one, they take a long time to give you an answer. And two, they really do a lot of research, and as they should. They maybe don't have all the money in the world to spend on a build, right? They have to either go finance or through cash. They may not have the resources that other builders have, so they're not getting the discounts on the materials or the contractors that builders that do a lot of volume are doing. So they have to be really careful with their budget and how much they can spend, and they really have to think about, okay, if I buy the lot at this price, I'm going to have to build it at, let's say, ballpark this price. I'm okay with making a 20% return on my money. So I like to work with the builders, like I've said this in multiple episodes, that do probably around 10 to 30 homes a year, spec builds, just because they tend to have crews. They tend to have multiple projects going on, so they're not scared of taking on multiple projects, and they're okay with letting a lot maybe sit for a month or two before they can even get it ready and start, going through the site prep, getting the lot leveled and fill dirt and cleared or whatever it may be. And so, but anyways, that's getting off topic. So back to this. I was talking about that just because of the lot prices, right? So as we can see, I always like to see how long these lots are sitting. So 15 days with 20 saves for land, I would say that's not bad, to be honest with you. And for those that are doing houses, you see that, you're like, oh Lord. And so this doesn't look that good, right? 98 days, 14 saves. I can instantly tell you that based on the pictures of the surrounding houses and area in the neighborhood. Well, there's a remodel. It's not bad. There's a remodel next door. It just doesn't look that appealing, right? And so we're going to keep looking real quick. I'm curious to see what some of these are. See, some agents have their stuff figured out. This looks like a little bit better of I don't want to say an area, but it just looks a little more cleaner. So if it's me as a builder, I'm a little more interested in this. But it also looks like there's potential of this is this person's property. So it looks like these people are wanting to sell off part of their land that they don't use, which is pretty common in land, right? So as you can see, there's a fence that runs along the side of this lot. So they're wanting to sell off. It's probably, I don't know, I'm a hypothetically, well, let's say, I would say 50 by 150. It seems pretty standard. They don't even have the dimensions on here. Hold on. Yeah, so 50 by 137. Hey, I was close. Let's go. Anyways, so that's common in land. So if you see that, that's okay. Don't freak out if you see someone else's fence around the lot, because that's well, at least the homeowner's fence. If it's someone else's fence, that's a problem, and they don't own the land, because that could be an issue. And that's what a survey is for, to figure that out. Anyways, so back to this. So now that I know, I can kind of see what's been sitting on the market. Let me see what's sold in the last. See if any lots have sold in the last 30 days. Okay, not enough data. We don't want to use that. So let's use 90. Boom. So now we have some more lots that have sold. There's nothing really in this area that I was hoping we would find, but we have one right here for 56. And this one just sold, actually. And it's funny because what do you guys notice? This house, one, looks like a piece of poo-poo paper, right, that belongs in your toilet. No offense to the homeowner, but it's also a demolition. So the builder bought this, even though there's a structure on it, right? This is why I think it's so important to understand land, because if you have an extra tool in your tool belt when you're an investor, and you can notice property like this, and you can understand, like, that house does not look like it makes sense to flip, because it looks like what's going to happen is it's not even obviously livable, but you would have to redo everything. It may only require demolition. At the end of the day, that looks like no matter what, it's going to be a demo. And so instead, if you see this when you're driving by, say you're driving for dollars, okay, and you notice a lot like this, and you're like, ooh, that's a good opportunity, but you're like, damn, I don't know the value of the land. Or damn, I don't know. You don't even think of this as a demolish. You're just like, how can we flip this? Or how can I acquire this house to sell to a flipper? This is no flip house. And we want to be able to, as an investor, we want to be able to maximize every opportunity, right? Because we like making money and helping sellers get out of sticky situations, and we like providing value to other investors in the community. And if you're not providing value, you're doing something wrong. And if you're not providing value, it's probably why you're complaining about your bank account. Don't take that personal. Take that as you want. Anyways, so we're going to demolish this, and as you can tell, they marketed this as a demolished. There's no house there anymore. So I would love to know if the seller, okay, lot for sale by owner, boom. So at the demolished. So my point being, look for opportunities like this. If you're able to drive in your market and understand, hey, this is what's going on. Hey, this house is not even fixable. It just needs to be demolished. Then go ham at it. Go find the land value in it. Well, I say go find the land value. That's what I'm here for. So if you come across a situation like that, I will say this: a house like this, factor this in, is going to cost about 10 grand, 10 to 15 grand to demolish. It's going to take about 10 to 15,000 just to remove this property from the lot. And that's actually pretty standard across Florida from what I have talked to other developers and builders with. And not only is it pretty standard, but it's also no matter the size of the home, it seems to be about 10 to 15,000. Now, obviously, if we're talking mega mansions that are $1 million homes and for whatever reason it needs to be demolished, that is a lot more costly. But when we're talking, 1,000 square foot to really even 3,000, 2,500 square foot homes, it's going to be 10 to 15,000 to remove that home from the lot. So now it's just the land value. And so here we go. Now that we know that, let's go back to looking at what the builds are selling for. So let's just even click on this. Sometimes Florida's kind of funky, especially Tampa, but sometimes they'll tell us what they bought the lot for. So in this case, they did not tell us what they bought the lot for. So I'm going to try to find one where they did. Okay, see, boom. God, Tampa sucks sometimes. Okay, here we go. So this may be, is this a double lot? What is this? Okay, perfect. So this is great. So as we can tell, this is where identifying value in land is crucial to maximizing profits. And honestly, you're gonna stick out like a sore thumb in your market as an investor when you can identify land opportunities just like this one I'm about to bring up and show you. And guys, keep in mind, I'm not in the Tampa market. So again, keep that with a grain of salt, but I'm looking at this from the perspective, again, if I was brand new to the marketplace. And not only that, I'm also looking at this as common sense. Land is a lot of common sense, right? So I noticed this house sells for 360. Boom, last month, whatever, awesome, cool. So now, like I said, I'm gonna go look and see what the house or the lot sold for. And you're probably wondering, well, how do you know that's what the lot sold for? Is usually when it's a brand new construction, 2023. The last time it sold, there may have been a structure on it, but regardless, that's the land value that they're paying. So I'm looking at this, and when I was looking at the other lots, I noticed the other lots were listed for 75,000. Sure, there were some in the hundreds, but for the most part, the single 50 by 150 lots were, being marketed for about 75,000, but they're actually selling for around 50 something thousand, right? And so I'm looking at this and like, 150 seems really steep for a $360,000 house. So when I click out of this, again, GIS map's actually going to break this down a lot better, because most of the time the GIS map, if this lot was already split into three, which actually, I think it's Hillsborough County, right? Someone's in the chat. Is Tampa Hillsborough County? Anyways, real quick though, I'll make this super quick. So as you can see here, common sense. We're looking at this big square, big rectangle. I guess it's not even a rectangle. It's literally a square. I don't know why I said both. Square lot, and we see 360,000. But remember, they bought the lot for 150. If you look at the lot lines just based on Zillow, nothing fancy, not going to the GIS, just looking at Zillow, we can see that there are 3 individual lots that are identical in terms of our lot lines, right? So the frontage on this is probably, I would assume, because this looks like a 50 frontage lot, meaning there's 50 feet of width on this lot. There's 3 of these that would fit onto this one square, meaning this is probably a 150 by 150 lot, just by looking at Zillow. I don't even need to verify on the frontage. I'm just quickly looking at this. And so I see 3 lots would fit into this. Boom. Now I also notice, again, like I said, this sold for 150. What does that mean? Each lot that this developer built on, he technically paid $50,000 per lot. So if we move these 3 lots straight up to this big square and cut it into 3, he bought this whole thing for 150. We break that down into 3. Now he's paying $50,000 per lot, right? And that's exactly what this bad boy pretty much sold for. This guy sold for 56.2, and it was a single lot. Boom, right? So now we're identifying what kind of builders want to be in the marketplace. And again, this isn't even me running builder numbers, guys. This is me just identifying based on looking at the area, looking at what's selling in the area, and looking at kind of what these builders are wanting. So let's click on another one real quick. So we have a 2023 build, 350. Please give me the lot price they bought it for. They're not. Tampa, dude, I swear. I remember I was looking at a few deals in Tampa in the past and it just drove me nuts. Okay, perfect. This house, new construction, sold for 355 2 months ago and sold in 2021 for 47.8. What does that tell you? That's about 50,000 a lot. So again, if we were to take that one big square, cut it into three, the builder paid 150 for it, which comes down to about 50,000 a lot if we were to put three of them on there. Common sense. So now, as an investor, or if you're looking to flip a lot, and a lot is brought to you, or you're doing marketing and you're out doing outreach, and you go into Tampa in this little pocket of area, and you see, this seller wants 35,000 for this lot. You should know right off the bat that you should lock that thing up. Don't offer what the seller wants. Go offer 30 or something a little less, so that way the seller, there's some pushback, or you may lose the deal. But anyways, I know if I go lock that thing up, that lot that I found in my marketing, whatever method that may be, for 30,000, I have a good chance of selling that lot for 50,000. Credit, there is nothing crazy going on. Hey, what's up, Rocky? Hold on, let me see what Rocky said. Hey, apart from ordering, so Rocky mentioned on a comment and question, apart from ordering a survey for a lot/land, would it be possible to get a county assessor's office to help run a property search in order to find the dimensions of the lot? Great question, Rocky. So most GISs, and I'm hoping this is Hillsborough County, is going to actually display what the dimensions are. So let's do this. Property search. What was the address of, we'll use this big lot. So we can copy and paste this address, 304 East Lake Street, Hillsborough County Property Appraiser. We'll do property search. And we'll do address, boom, copy, paste, search. I think it pulled up there and I got quick with it. So as you can see, an LLC owns this, or someone bought this, I think, as an LLC. Let's see. Boom, boom. That's for, okay, I thought I saw an LLC, but I guess not. So this does not really, oh, here we go. So boom. So here's our landlines, right? So again, I'm very rarely, it's been so long since I've looked at a Hillsborough County GIS map. This isn't even the GIS map. This is literally the property search or property appraiser. Usually 99% of the time, there is going to be a section where on the property search, they're going to have the dimensions of the lot. So in this case, when you see front and depth, that is your dimensions. So what does that mean? That means it's a 50 by 50. If I could draw an X here, I would. Little multiply X by 131, meaning that is 50 feet of frontage right here on the screen. There's 50 feet of width, 131 feet of depth, how far back the lot goes technically, right? So that's our dimension. So if you're curious on the square footage, you just multiply these two numbers and that gives you your square footage. Although builders really just care to have the depth because they can run the square footage if they want to, but they just want to know the dimensions of the lot. So again, with that being said, as I said earlier, this is the square lot, right? This is that lot I was just talking about right here. So boom, here's our big square lot. I'm looking at it from an aerial view on the property search. There are 3 homes there. So what does that tell me? I can look straight down here. This lot got split into 3 lots. 150 by 131, a second 50 by 131, a third 50 by 131, right? So again, this developer paid 150 for these 3 lots. Technically, it was one big parcel at the time. Paid 150, so that's 50,000 a lot, right? And so that tells me that builders are paying for a 50 by 130 or 50 by 150 lot in this Tampa neighborhood. Builders are going to be paying around 50,000. So your job is to go get, well, not your job, Rocky. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the whole crowd, by the way. Your job for everyone is to identify what those builders are building at or what they're buying lots at. What size are those lots? Because you don't want to assume, you don't want to see a 150, you don't want to see a 50 by 131 size lot and then see, okay, great, they paid 50,000 for that. And then for some reason, you go find a, and even if it's in the same neighborhood, you go find a 40 by 100 lot. For one, it may not be buildable based on the county. Some restrictions require a certain amount of frontage. Some require a certain amount of square footage. Just depends on the zoning. But regardless, if you go find a 40 by 100 lot next to a 50 by 131, and that 50 by 131 is selling for 50,000, your lot's a lot smaller. Thus, your value is less, right? Because you can't build as big of a home on that lot as that 50 by 131 lot. So those are little things to keep in mind too when you're evaluating this stuff. Okay. Rocky, did that answer your question, by the way? And so like even for us, we're in Bay County. So I'm going to pull up Bay County Property Appraiser. I'm just going to go to the map real quick. Boom, boom. It takes forever to load. Wow. We're going to zoom in. This is just on the property appraiser. I could do this on property search. Here's a vacant lot that's sold. I'm going to click on it. And boom, now we have our frontage and we have our depth. So that's a 50 by 100 size lot. So again, most property search websites or property appraisers are going to be able to show you the depth. I've said it multiple times as well for the listeners. Depth is the most important thing for lots or land. If you're dealing with big acreage, even if it's like residential acreage, say like 2-3 acres, dimensions not that relevant unless it's just a funky looking shaped lot in the middle of town that's shaped like a Tetris shape. Then dimensions could be useful. Certainly bring those up because you're going to have multiple dimensions. But regardless, for residential lots, dimensions are the most important thing to identify. More than acreage, more than square footage. We want to identify the dimensions. So we'll zoom back out real quick and we'll try to find one more lot real quick to see if they're selling for about 50. So this is a 3-2, 1,500 square foot lot. The other thing to notice, which I'll point out here in a second, is, well, first, let me see if I can find one more lot that's sold. Dude, this would be the easiest area, guys. I'm dead serious. So if you're watching this and you're wondering, I want to get into land, I just need a market or an area to go hunt. This is the ideal area for someone that wants to wholesale some land or specifically residential lots, because all these houses are the exact same size, same bed count. I'm sure there may be some 4.2s, but I love when I see a lot of homes at the exact same square footage or around the same, because it makes my life underwriting that lot incredibly easy. So anyways, let's see if this one has for sale. Okay, boom. Perfect. This is a 3-bed, 1,500 square foot home that sold for $357,500. So most of these homes are selling in the 350s, right? Well, this also looks to be on a 50 by whatever lot. It says 5,000 square feet. That's fine. But regardless, they bought this lot for $45,000, right? So we have seen a consistent theme by looking, just using Zillow, not even using Property Appraiser, not using any fancy software, nothing. We have quickly identified in this neighborhood or in this area what builders want to be buying lots for. And so, excuse me. So if you're trying to, again, if you're on the hunt to find some land deals, go to Tampa, go to this market, which is Belmont Heights, College Hills, Highland. And I know there's a lot of people in our community, in our Astro community, that are in Tampa. So if you're listening to this or you hear this, go get them, Tiger. Okay, so here's a funny one. So this one, okay, that one's for rent. I would love to know why this got $470,000. Because it's only 300 square feet bigger. So here's the other thing I wanted to mention when we're looking at these houses, right? Again, I'm thinking of this as I'm brand new to the marketplace. This got 300,000, 3-bed, 1,450 square feet. Let's see if we can see what they paid for the lot. No, we cannot. Some of these suck. But I want to look at what these price per square foots are. I want to see what the average is. So I want to see if I can see a trend, right? A lot of times when you're dealing in a neighborhood for new construction, that there's a trend, and the trend in this is a 3-bed, 2-bath, 1,500 square feet. You don't have to get fancy smancy with it. I'm keeping it super simple. I'm rounding all these to 1,500 square feet because that's all what they are technically. And so I want to see what these homes are selling at a price per square foot basis, right? So let's just go down. That was 207. We got 251. Seems a little more on par. Now, again, keep in mind, as the sale price goes up, typically the price per square foot goes down, unless you're in a luxury market. When we're talking in a neighborhood that's 250 to 450,000, usually it goes down. But when we start getting into luxury construction, luxury builds, single family, price per square foot goes up. There's parts of our market where price per square foot can get all the way up to $700, $800, $900 a square foot, which is absurd. And those homes are selling for $3 to $10 million for new construction. And those lots are going for like 600,000. It's insane. Like for like a 5,000 square foot lot, paying 600 grand. It's wild. Anyway, so we have another 500,000 square foot lot. We have another 3-2, 1,400 square feet. 239 a square foot, right? So we've got 207, one like 251, 239 a square foot. I'm going to look at one more just to kind of validate what I'm thinking. I think I already looked at that one. So we already looked at that one. So let's click on this one real quick. Boom. 220 a square foot. So if I'm running numbers, I'm assuming, okay, let's just run it at 230 a square foot. I'm trying to get quick numbers out. I'm trying to just quickly analyze a deal. I know that the homes are going to be selling for around 230 a square foot. I know also that the homes are going to be about 1,500 square foot in size, right? And I also know these are going to be 3-bed, 2-bath homes. Really, the bed and bath count that isn't really necessary unless you're working with a specific builder who you just know wants to build a 3-2. I always like to include the bath. This one's actually a 4-2. I always like to include the bed bath count when I'm trying to sell the deal because it allows builders, again, to see what's going on in the area. Now, if all these homes are 1,500 square foot, but they're 4-2, and there's only 1 or 2 that are 3-bed, 2-bath, to maximize the value, the builder's probably going to want to do a 4-bed, 2-bath, unless they're okay with not doing that and they maybe add a pool or something like that. It's funny, guys, in construction, when you're dealing with pools, most of the time, your ROI, you don't even really get an ROI back when you build a pool. An average pool for not even like a giant, I'm not talking like an Olympic pool, Olympic size pool, like a giant pool, or even an infinity pool, the one with the water runs off the edge and it looks like you're just like overlooking the pool without seeing concrete or anything like that, or concrete. But pools typically are around 50 grand to build. They can be less, they can be more, depending on what you do. But a standard pool that our developers and our builders put in their homes cost about 50 grand on average. And again, that also depends on saltwater or chlorine pool. Most of our builders do saltwater pools because we're in Florida. Saltwater pools are easier to maintain. Even though they're a little more expensive, they're just easier to maintain. And you don't have to keep up with like the chemical balance like you would with a chemical pool. And a lot of our builders build for investors. They build their house, they sell to an investor to use as a short-term rental or long-term rental. And so what does an investor usually not like to do? Maintenance. So they build saltwater pools. So let's say a pool costs $50,000 to install or get built, put into the house, or not into the house, but you guys know what I mean, put into the yard. It typically, your return on that is close to 50,000, if not maybe a little more. On average. Sure, there are some other circumstances where they add a ton of value, but for the majority of that I've seen, they don't really add much value. They just make it easier to sell or rent out, depending on who is buying the house or buying the deal, the build. And so knowing what I know now, I know that most builders are selling. And this, back to Tampa, by the way, sorry. Awesome, Rocky. It was right in front of you all along. Hey, Rocky, if you're still here, I am 100% guilty of that all the time, where I overlook something and I have to go back and I get frustrated. And then I'm like, dude, it was right here the entire time. Like, this is some BS. Anyways, I had to get my swig of Red Bull. For those that know me, I'm like addicted to sugar-free Red Bull. It's actually probably extremely terrible for me. Anyways, back to this neighborhood. So 230 square foot, 1,500 square foot build. I know that most builders are buying lots of 50,000. We are keeping this extremely, extremely, extremely simple. And so some of the other things that are going to stand out to me is when we go back to here and I want to look at lots that are for sale. You notice there are no lots even close to 50,000 listed. Why is that? Because builders, just like a fix and flipper or just like an investor, when we're talking single family residential real estate, or even any type of residential real estate, they want a discount. Why? Because they're looking to a value add opportunity. What do I mean by value add? They're looking for an opportunity to buy something at a discount, put money into it, and either turn around and sell it for profit or somehow make money on that deal, right? So investors, builders are not going to be paying top dollar or market value, such as an end user would. An end user is someone that wants to buy the house to live in it full time, whether it's their dream home, whether it's a vacation or not vacation home, but a dream home or something along those lines, right? So builders are the exact same. So when you think of a builder, honestly, pretty much think of a fix and flipper. Builder for land, fix and flipper for residential. And so we notice there's no $50,000 lots in this little neighborhood. What does that tell me? That means these agents are marketing these land deals. They want to sell to an end user. That's how they want to maximize the value of their lot. it's very, very, very common on market land deals, which is why we typically do not deal with on market land deals, because agents go to the sellers. And this is not no knock on agents. Look, you got to represent. If you're an agent listening, I'm not knocking any agents on land. Your job is to represent the seller to make them the most money possible. And ultimately, the more money they make, the more money you make. I get it. It's part of the game. But at the same time, if you're frustrated because your land is, or your lot, I shouldn't say land, your lot that you have listed is not selling, and it's been 150 days, and you're sweating because your broker's on your butt. You're also sweating because the seller's like, what is going on? Why hasn't this sold? You told me this was the price that it was going to sell at quickly. So what we want to start thinking of, and this is me putting my thoughts for agents out there that want to do multiple deals and make money and be good, and utilize investors, utilize developers, utilize builders, utilize wholesalers, all the above. God, I feel like agents would just like smack me upside the head for what I'm about to say, but I would start listing your lots for builders, not end users, especially in this price range. Now, if we're talking somewhere along the lines of like a super luxury neighborhood or an HOA or something funky like in here, right? These lots are going for 1.7. This makes sense to list because the amount of luxury builders that are going to want to go buy a $1.7 million lot to build on, it's very, very slim, because they're probably going to have to build a $10 million home to sell it and make any profit. Because at this price range, builders are going to go get funding. It's probably extremely rare builders going to be like, yeah, here's 1.7 cash. Oh yeah, and I'm also going to fund my build cash, or even paying for that lot cash for a builder. That's 1.7 million cash out of pocket they are on that transaction. So unless there are Donald Trump or Elon Musk, that's usually very unlikely. And so what happens is when a builder is wanting to pay extremely high, and there are lots in our market, so it's the only reason I'm somewhat familiar with this. We typically don't do extremely luxury lots like this because it just, there's not a lot of spec home or even semi-custom home builders that want to put up this kind of capital or even deal with this type of financing. So, but anyways, hypothetically, let's say a builder wants to buy this lot, right, at 1.7 million. They are 90% of the time going to have to go get some type of financing, whether that's from a bank, for a construction loan, or whether that is from like a lender, a private money lender, or maybe just a private investor that they know that is okay with sending them money for projects. What happens is, unless very rarely, very, 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 very rarely, is a private investor that's willing to shell out money going to do it for no interest. So what I mean by that is financing on construction loans, private lenders, all that. So builders like goes to a lender and says, hey, I want to buy this lot for 1.7. Here's what I project it will sell at, blah, 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 blah. Here's what I'm hoping to make, da, 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 da. That lender's going to be like, okay, I'll lend you that 1.7, but we're going to put an interest on it. Let's just hypothetically say a 6% interest, right? So now that lender just gave a 1.7 million, and even just add, and it may be a lower interest. I don't know what some of these builders, what kind of connections. It just depends on the lender. For those that don't see, on 6% interest of 1.7 million, that's 102,000 basically of interest, monthly interest that a builder would have to, that's accumulated onto that project, right? That's 6 figures for something that it's probably going to take 12 months to even build, because it's a luxury build. And then not only that, they have to sell it, and luxury builds with the interest rates right now are sitting for quite a bit, right? So now add, let's even say another 6 months. Now we're all in at 18 months, and you're having to pay 6% interest on a 1.7. Long story short, that's why we have not really dealt in the realm of super, super, super high-end residential lots. Now, $1.7 or $1.7, $1 million commercial lot of like, 10 acres or something, a lot more desire. That's totally, totally different. But for residential, we like to stick in this price range, or we don't mind doing luxury. We're in a luxury market. So we do, but we know there's a lot of spec home builders in our market that do luxury. It's kind of unique. So, but most markets aren't like that. Anyways, so I hope that kind of gave everyone a grasp on what I would be looking for if I'm brand new into a market, or I'm looking to get into wholesaling land. I don't know where to start. I have no clue. I'm virtual. I just want to understand where I need to be looking. It does not mean you have to be looking in Tampa, but this is a perfect, I'm so glad I found this because honestly, this is the perfect example of the type of neighborhoods you'd want to be finding. But anyways, I'll wrap this up with saying there's a reason none of these lots are selling, right? 75,000. We noticed all the builders want 50,000 a lot, or at least around there, give or take. And so you can go into these offers. Like that one's been listed for 15 days. So I don't know how lucky you would get. I don't even say lucky. You may be a sales wizard and be able to talk that agent into making a deal happen. But I'm looking at, I want to find lots that are sitting for a long time. So, right. So none of these lots are really sitting for crazy long. What happened to the one that was like 200 something days? Am I tripping, everyone? Like, we just looked at that one. Hold on. Give me 1 second so I can wrap this up. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. Anyways, my point being, long story short is I'm going in and I want to have this deal at about 40,000 just because I feel comfortable knowing that builders are buying lots for 50,000. Now, I don't technically use just Zillow to analyze my deals, but again, I'm talking as if you're brand new into a market. And so if you're brand new into a market, I want to identify a neighborhood like this. I want to identify around the ballpark of what these builders are wanting to buy at. And then I want to go get deals under that. I want to go get them under contract at what they're going to buy at. So if you want to make 10 grand, go lock it up at 40 or 35 to be safe. And then go haywire. And so as you're identifying opportunity, as you're getting lots under contract, now you can go present those to builders. And so for real quick, what I would do if I'm everyone wanting to find a builder in the marketplace, I'm starting with going to the newest sold, which is this guy that sold 3 homes, and I'm looking, which is on this one, and I'm calling Infinity Homes of Florida, Tampa Bay, Inc. And then I'm simply going to boom. We are going to click this in. I'm going to, let's say, Tampa Bay, just to be safe. And then, okay, boom. So they're an actual website. This is even better. They literally have a website for their spec homes. So boom, contact us. I would be calling them, emailing them, doing it all, and getting a hold of them saying, hey, what are you wanting to buy? I noticed you had built some homes over on 3405 East Lake Ave. Are you still looking for more land in that area? Oh, yes, we are. Awesome. I noticed you had purchased, that lot technically. I noticed you had purchased 3 lots right there for 150 grand, so about 50,000 a piece. Are you happy with that number you paid? Yeah, I'm extremely happy. If we can get more lots in that area for 50,000, it's game on. We'll buy them. Beautiful. Stay less. Let me go find you a lot and let me bring it to your front door and let me go make some money. You make some money and we help the seller and everyone makes money in the agent or whoever it is. That's what I would be doing. So, click, find the new construction, Google who the LLC is that owns it, or even the homeowner. Sometimes there's builds that is purchased or built by just a single name. Totally fine. Use them because a lot of builders will use investors' names on the deed. So if you see a new construction, you look it up, who bought the land and who sold the house and the 2 latest transactions, and you see John Smith, you're like, that's not a building company, or that's not an LLC. Call John Smith, and most likely, not always, sometimes builders will put stuff in their own name. It's fine. It's not safe, but they do it because if they're a mom and pop. But sometimes skilled builders or investors that know what they're doing are going to leverage the private investor that wants to fund their project. And so John Smith may have he may have not been involved one bit in the build of a home, but he may have funded that project. Thus, the builder is like, okay, you fund it, you buy the lot, AKA your name is on the deed. My LLC's name is basically irrelevant because I'm not on the deed. So if something were to happen, I'm not liable. There's just kind of like tricks that builders will do to leverage multiple options. And so just because you don't see an LLC or a building company on when you're looking for new construction to call to see if they're willing to buy, still call the John Smiths of the world if you see they had built or they bought the land and sold the house, because more than likely they're either an investor or they're a mom and pop builder. And those are people you still want to have relationships with. And there are still people that will buy deals from you. So with that being said, does anyone have any questions before I wrap this up? I'm going to, again, cut this one about 10 to 8 minutes short. A lot to do today. So hit me up if you have any questions. I want to thank everyone for showing up to another episode of Grounded. And I guess let me just take Zillow off of this thing. So if I can get my mouse to work. I want to thank everyone for showing up to another episode of Grounded. Y'all are the best. Make sure you like, subscribe if you are getting value. If you're not getting value, tell me why you're not getting value so I can make sure to start implementing ways for you to feel like this is actually worth your time and coming to these shows. I want to be able to answer any and all questions. I want to be able to give my own 2 cents. I don't know everything. I'm not a professional. Well, I would consider myself a professional. I'm sorry. But I don't consider myself a seasoned pro. I haven't been doing this for 10 years like some people have. I've literally been investing in land full time for about 7 months now. And everything I have learned is by taking action. I'm not YouTube University. I could probably tell you I couldn't even tell you one land video I watched on YouTube, like actual land video to try to learn it. It just came from taking action, learning, understanding, using common sense. A lot of investing, whether it's in land or property, comes down to common sense. It comes down to numbers and common sense. Those 2 things. Real estate is all about, do the numbers pencil? Yes. Can I make money if I put money into something? Can I make some money on the back end? Can I make an ROI? Yes. Awesome. I'm going to buy that opportunity. It's that simple. So don't overcomplicate things. Like I said, I did all the research I just did on this market that I have zero experience in. I just did using Zillow, not fancy software, not paid software, no GIS maps, no property. Well, I guess I did use the property appraiser, so I can't say I didn't. But the intention was not to use it because I only used it to see the frontage. So my point being is you don't need a lot of stuff if you can just use your common sense and pay attention to what things are doing or what prices are selling, what homes are selling for, what the size of these homes are, what's the average price per square foot. Just numbers. Look at the numbers. You'll usually see a trend and just follow that trend. You don't need to have 700 builders in a marketplace to go wholesale land or buy land and sell land. You don't. You could ideally, most of our deals, I probably sell to the same 5 builders multiple times a month. They build 20 to 30 homes a year, and we sell them 2 to 3 deals a month. Some months it's 1, some months it's 3, some months it's 4. And that's just one person. Like that's one company. I mean, I've got probably a handful of them that will buy multiple deals from us if the numbers pencil. That's really all you need. I have a lot of other builders, but there's a few that will just keep buying from us. And so if you can go out there and find good deals, source good deals, you can consistently make money in land. Now, you may not be getting $700,000 assignments like some of these land entitlement plays, but if you're looking for quick cash and you're looking for quick money, 100%. I mean, go wholesale some residential lots, build that bank account, build that capital so you can start developing, you can start building. Because I promise you, it's not as complicated as it may seem. You're probably thinking like, oh God, how many nails do I need for this drywall? Or what kind of door should I put in? No, you don't even, like, if you're worried about that with building, stop, because there's people that will figure that stuff out for you. Get good at delegating tasks and get good at just providing value ultimately, because the money you make is based on the value you provide to your community. At the end of the day, that's all it is. So go out there, provide value, see what people need. Stop worrying about your needs. That's the biggest thing that I had to learn personally was when I first got into real estate, it's like, oh, money, there's so much money to be made. This is incredible. Me. I just want to make money. Not that I was greedy. I JV'd at all, like my first couple deals were pretty much JVs. But understand that if you can put other people's needs first and you can value what other people want, what do others think is important? How can I provide value to someone else's business? One thing I will say real quick as I wrap this up, please do not be the person that goes to builders and all kinds of people and say, how can I provide value to you? Why? It's real simple, because you're making them do work. By asking them, how can I provide value to you? You're simply asking them, hey, I'm lazy. I don't know what you need. Can you please tell me what you need? Rather than studying them, learning them, asking them better questions rather than how can I provide value? Hey, what are you building? Where are you building? How many builds are you looking to do? Do you build in HOAs? Do you build in flood zones? How many plans do you have? What kind of price range do you like to sell your homes at? Ask more specific questions to where you're studying these builders, you're studying these people that buy these land deals. And then now you can go take action based on what you learned from them, then to go provide value. Give value to others by taking action and showing, not by asking. There's a big difference. and understand that, because once you understand that you can provide value just by your actions rather than just by asking, you're gonna make a lot more money for one, and you're gonna again stick out like a sore thumb, because so many people ask, how can I provide value? It's the number one trigger for me when people DM me, hey Tanner, how can I provide value to you or your business, or you and Isham or anyone or your team? It kind of drives me nuts. I love that you guys are. I love that people take action, because that was me, 100%. I used to be that person. Reach out to others. Hey, how can I provide value to you? How can I provide value to you? That's what you're kind of taught. It's kind of what you hear all the time. I was that person when I started. I'm not knocking it. It doesn't trigger me in a bad way. It just triggers me like, oh, okay, they must be new. And so I just understand that there's going to be a little more of a conversation that has to be had with them for them to understand, hey, let's not ask, how do we provide value? Go show me that you provide value. Because the biggest thing that grinds my gears is when someone asks for my help or an opinion, and I say, hey, this is what I would do. Not that it makes it right or wrong or anything like that. Not that, again, I'm some seasoned professional pro, all the above. But if someone asks for my opinion and I give it, and then they come back to me and I ask if they did that, and they say, well, no, I did something else, but they're frustrated with what the results are, it grinds my gears. It's like, look, you asked for my opinion, I gave you my opinion, and you didn't want to go take action on that. Thus, you come back to me because you're frustrated and ask for the same question again. And the chances are of you going to take action by what I said is probably something on. Thus, I don't want to give you the time of day. That's how higher level people think. They want to help. Most people that are way more successful than me, that are in my network, that I have built relationships with, it came from me by providing action to them. That's how I got within their network. All these developers and builders across the country that I have relationships with that make millions of dollars, I got by showing them I take action and provide value from my actions, not by asking. So understand that. I hope that hit someone's heart today. I don't know. I don't know why I went on a rant about that, but I did. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. Like, subscribe if you got value. Again, if you didn't, DM me at Tanner Santucci on Instagram, or comment. I do not care if you have anything bad to say or good to say. Just let us know what we could do better and how we could provide more value, essentially. And so I'm trying. I'm doing my best. Be honest and give honest feedback. And so share this with others, and keep up the great work for everyone that's out there hustling on a daily basis. I love y'all. I'm going to get back to work. Make sure you stay tuned for next week's episode at 3 p.m. Eastern time, right here on the Wholesale Elite YouTube and Facebook page. We are live every single Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern time from 3 to 4. So show up, interact. Let's have a good time. And I love y'all. Peace.